The hearing suddenly shifted gears when Congresswoman Tokuda zeroed in on the most dangerous question of all: obedience versus duty. She didn't just ask whether Pete Hex would follow orders, she asked if he would blindly obey a president, even if those orders violated the rights of American citizens. And that's when the mask started to slip. Tokuda painted a devastating picture, not of a strong, independent Secretary of Defense, but of a rubber stamp for executive overreach. A chilling thought, especially given Hex's deep ties to defense contractors and his private briefings with billionaires like Elon Musk. The subtext was impossible to ignore. Is Hex really committed to protecting the Constitution, or will he bend the knee to political pressure and corporate interests dressed up as national security? In one exchange, Tokuda exposed something bigger than a single nomination. She revealed a terrifying possibility. Under the banner of patriotism, unchecked loyalty to a president could become a license for authoritarianism. And trust me, what came next was even more explosive. Congressman Jill Tokuda's grilling of Pete Hegseth wasn't just about one meeting, it was about the creeping privatization of America's war planning. She zeroed in on Elon Musk's shocking presence at a Pentagon strategy session, right as tensions with China are rising. And she didn't mince words. Who invited him? For what purpose? Why was a defense contractor whose companies make billions off the Pentagon sitting in on classified discussions about America's military future? The excuse from the Pentagon? That it was merely informal? But that only made it worse, because it exposed the dangerous blur between national security and corporate influence. Tokuda made it clear this isn't about Elon Musk alone, it's about the precedent. If billionaires with financial stakes can insert themselves into America's most sensitive war planning, who's really guiding US defense policy? Is it still accountable to the Constitution, or is it being warped by the ambitions of moguls who see profit in conflict? What Tokuda revealed was bigger than one hearing. She exposed a fundamental threat: the quiet handover of America's defense strategy from public servants to private power. No one expected the exchange to escalate this fast. What began as a routine discussion over contracts erupted into a direct challenge to the foundations of American democracy. Congresswoman Jill Tokuda drew a bright line between corporate profit and constitutional principle, and Pete Hegseth found himself on the wrong side of it. At first, the focus was on a multi-billion-dollar defense deal where corporations enjoyed insider briefings and VIP access. It was a reminder of how deeply money and influence have shaped military priorities. But Tokuda didn't linger on procurement. She pivoted to the question that mattered most. Would Hegseth obey a presidential order to turn the US military against American citizens on January 6th? That shift reframed the entire hearing. It was no longer about sales pitches and contracts. It was about principle and whether Hegseth's loyalty was to the Constitution or to a president willing to abuse power. The contrast was devastating. While contractors are entertained with billion-dollar deals, lawmakers like Tokuda are left asking the most dangerous question: can the Republic's defenders be trusted to defend it from a rogue commander-in-chief? She asked directly, would you obey an order to unleash the National Guard or Marines on citizens lawfully exercising their First Amendment rights? Pressing the point twice, Tokuda stripped away the jargon and laid the stakes bare. This wasn't a hypothetical about the chain of command, it was a test of constitutional loyalty. Following, if Hegseth dodged, it meant he could place presidential power above the Bill of Rights, effectively greenlighting authoritarianism under the cover of just following orders. Tokuda then pushed the unthinkable. Would you follow an order to have US troops shoot American citizens in the legs? The extremity cut through the usual theater, forcing Hegseth and everyone watching to face the raw question: does blind obedience to a president ever outweigh the oath to the Constitution? The exchange ended abruptly when another member yielded back, but the silence that followed spoke volumes. Either Hegseth would admit the obvious, that such an order is unconstitutional and indefensible, or his evasions revealed just how fragile the safeguards of democracy have become. In a hearing crowded with jargon and talk of contracts, this moment crystallized the stakes. It wasn't about budgets, it was about whether America can trust its defense leadership to resist authoritarian command. So what do you think? Was Tokuda right to press the issue so bluntly, or did she go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next hearing promises to be even more explosive.